And, you know, I wasn't in no military cell by myself. They had me out in Gen Pop with some dudes in Cumberland County with some real killers. And there was this older cat there. And you know, and I'm sitting there and I got my glasses on and this, that, and the third. And then they brought me like the worst pair of glasses. They were big and thick, so I probably like a tax accountant sitting there. And guy looks at me and he's like, what you here for, traffic tickets or something? And so, you know, me being me, you know, I'm still puffed up and I'm looking like, nah, bro, I'm here for murder.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Once again, it's your favorite podcast, Three Brothers, No Sense. I am proud to announce we have a special episode of Three Brothers. We're going to call it Four Brothers today. Of course, I have my co-host, Byron Evans, a.k.a. Buff, and Razi, a.k.a. Razi on here. But most importantly, we have a special guest. I don't even know how to set this young brother up. I've known him for about 25 years. One of the guys that probably helped me define what I call friendship and my relationship with friends. I think I'm a pretty decent friend from that point on. But I think it's perfect timing, if you guys would agree. We have our all-class reunion coming up for John L. Leflore High School, you know, one of the greatest high schools ever. And this young man has actually written a series of short stories based on Leflore High School. I've read most of them. Actually, kind of upset that I haven't been able to read mine yet. I read a couple of other ones, but without further ado, introducing to some, presenting to others, Sherman Cooley, take it away. You're welcome to Four Brothers, baby.
Hey, how everybody doing out there? Like he said, it's me, Sherman Cooley. I've been away for a long while. I'm home, getting ready to make my way back to Mobile for this all class and Thanksgiving weekend. I can't wait to see everybody there. But before I get started or anything about the Leflore High short stories and all those other things, let me first thank you all for hosting me here. You know, Byron, Razi, Tavares, as he said, we've known each other for well over half our lives. And also, let me say this, man, and this is from the bottom of my heart, very sincerely. I am proud of the man that you are. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people out there may know some, may not. You know, I was going away. I was gone for like 16 and a half years. I was incarcerated. I made a very fatal mistake when I was younger, 21 years old. And, you know, and it cost me. I paid for it. I paid for it dearly. And, you know, over the years when I was sitting there in that cell and I was looking out at what was going on in life, I could always look out to you all and see the things that you were doing. And, you know, it just made me proud. It made me proud of the men you are, the fathers that you are, the husbands that you are. Even in the show, in the podcast, listening to the podcast every week and listening to your different points of views and varying points of views and the way that you articulate and express yourselves. You know, I'm proud of you all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And more so, I remember I told Razi this probably 17 plus years ago when I was on some of my darkest days, when I was first going through the whole thing with the trial and everything else, and I was getting locked up, and I looked at him, I said, bro, just make sure that when I come home, whenever I come home, we still us. And we still us.
Appreciate that, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
I got a tear. I shed a tear for a second.
Man, I'm in this hotel, the AC and my allergies.
My supposed to be cutting onions downstairs.
We in Oklahoma, you know, just watch the Tulsa thing, you know. So, man, appreciate it, man. Much love. But man, you made all this possible, man. You helped keep us together, like I said. You helped define friendship, and so. Enough about us, man. Tell us more about you and your book. That's what I want the people to talk about so they can start listening and reading and then vote me as their favorite character.
Right, because Ferg said he didn't get a chance to read his story. So let the listeners know what he meant by that and how the characters are loosely based on people that you know.
Okay, well, the Leflore High short stories are something I think that we all can relate to, not just us specifically because we went to and graduated from Leflore. And I will second what Tavares said. I feel like, especially when we were coming through in the mid to late 90s, Leflore High was the school in Mobile, Alabama to be at and to be a part of. And so whatever's going on down there now, I hear a lot of things that have been there, like I said. But back then, when it was the Marching 225, and that basketball team was going to state every year, it was the school to be at. But anyway, so the short stories are based loosely on the characters. I always tell people when they ask me about the stories, people who have read some of the short stories and some of the other writings, the situations and events are fictional. The characters, and more than the characters, the relationships amongst the characters are real. Or they're very real. But again, as I said, not just specifically as it relates to us being able to, identify with the stories, but anybody. I mean, we've all been young teenagers transitioning from junior high to high school and having to navigate that new space. And so that's really what the short stories are about. There are a series of short stories that are written in the first person perspective. And, again, it's about being young teenagers and coming in. Like the first short story is Andre. That's the main character. And they're all like, Andre, Mia, Brandon. They're all titled based on whoever's point of view is going to be from. So and then Jared, who would be Tavares' first character, is Jared. That's down the line. It's 4 or 5, 30 characters right now. I'm just kidding.
And I definitely feel some kind of way that you didn't even choose to hide my name. It's just a Razio. I'm just
you sound like a made up character.
And when he first mentioned that, I told him too, like, nobody believes that's your real name. Anybody that's ever read those stories, where'd you get that from? I'm like, no, that's actually his real name. But these characters are coming into high school from junior high and from various junior high schools throughout the city, because Leflore back then was a magnet school and it was drawn from all throughout the city, and so they come from varying backgrounds, and then they have a lot of misconceptions and preconceived notions about one another that you see play out. And coming in from Andre, the main character, he's from Tomanville. He's from the hood. He went to Booker T. Washington Middle School. And he's coming into this magnet school where he's around a lot of students from other preparatory schools, from like Phillips Prep, Clark School of Math and Science, Dunbar School of Performance and Arts, I think it was, or something like that. And so he's around all these other characters, and he's having to navigate this. And he's having to navigate not only, the classroom, but having to navigate, being on the football field. He's a football player and trying to be a freshman on the varsity football team and dealing with those ups and downs. And, used to being a superstar and being the man on the field. And now, he's second, third string. He's one of the slowest running backs. And you're seeing all these things play out. And again, it's not just with him and his struggle and his little story, but the interaction, the dynamics between him and other characters. Like, and now this is something that's actually based on real life. I don't even know if you really remember this, but when we first met, we did not get along.
No, I didn't get along with any of y'all when I first got it. We met.
And that's something that's real life in there. That
I didn't like a Razio.
Nobody liked
me neither.
But I'm so lovable. I don't understand how nobody liked me.
You an arrogant little bastard.
Arrogant.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's what it's about. And having these preconceived notions, and a lot of that is based on my own, perception and reality of what I thought coming into high school, going into Leflore from Booker T, that, okay, all these Phillips dudes are pretty boys. And all these Phillips girls are stuck up. And it's this, that, and the third. And you don't know any better. And mind you that I'm writing this as an adult, but I'm writing this from the frame of mind and thought processes of a 14, 15-year-old kid. And so these are the things that he thinks. Of course, looking back on it, it gives me the insight to be able to say, okay, he's going to learn this. He's going to figure out that, to where Jared is going to become one of his best friends later on down the line.
What I love about the story, man, I don't know if you ever watched This Is Us. Sure, if you haven't, it's a great show. To me, one of the best shows on television. Basically, it's about life in perspective. So it's people going through the exact same time period, experiencing life, but seeing it from their point of view. And it's crazy because we all have different perspectives, but it all leads to one point, and it molds how we look at things, how it shapes us and stuff like that. So every time I read a different story and knowing the backstory from the story before, it's like, oh, so this was going on when I was doing this, thinking the world was revolving around me. You were dealing with all this.
Exactly.
That's part of the beauty of your stories, man, is you're looking at perspectives and don't want to spoil it, but like for me, reading your stories, I remember we had a conversation a few weeks ago. It was like, I didn't realize there was like this hierarchy, in the high school, different schools looked at other people at other ways. And I was just looking at whoever had the finest chicks and not trying to get beat up by seniors because I was a freshman. So that was my hierarchy, so man, I'm really interested in reading the rest of the stories and want to get the readers to get it as well. So I don't want to interrupt anymore. Continue your thought process, my man.
Well, actually, go ahead, Razi.
I did want to ask, so like time-wise, when are they going to be dropping? When are they going to be accessible, that type of thing?
Well, we are looking to make Andre accessible this week, actually. So everywhere you get your ebooks, look for it. And also, I think aside from Amazon, because Amazon doesn't allow it, if on Amazon, it's probably going to be like a 99-cent fee. That's what I've been hearing in my research. But everywhere else, I'm trying to make it free, man. I want everybody to get them, read them, enjoy them, comment on them. So, as an artist, I mean, obviously, everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to be well known, this, that, and the third. But when you're creating something, you really want the people to see it. You want the people to, have a reaction, have a vested interest in it, and everything else kind of becomes secondary. So, and especially the people that, that we grew up with, that, who may see a character and may wonder to themselves, well, is this me? This, that, and and all these other things. And I will say this, Tavares actually mentioned this before, that, there are composite characters. They're, aside from the people that like Orazio. Orazio is obviously Orazio. Byron is obviously Brandon, and Allison is obviously Mia. Those other things. But there are different composite characters. And, I definitely going to have it available on pretty much every platform where you can get your ebook, downloads, PDF downloads, just everywhere. I want it to be as accessible as possible to people.
Nice.
Yeah, that composite character thing is crazy. So if you think he's talking about you and you're offended, he's not talking about you.
Yeah, that's the composite part.
If you think he's talking about you and you love it, you're exactly who he had in his mind when he wrote the story.
You know what? I'll say this. I'll say this one thing, right? When you talk about, somebody maybe being offended, of course, when you go through high school and you're doing all these things to your kids, you have people you like, people you don't like, right? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you one of the things that prison does to you when you're away from home and you're away from everything and everybody you love. People that you didn't necessarily like in high school, but who remind you of home, when you are gone away for 10, 12, however many years, you start to love and miss those people.
I can imagine.
I'm serious. I'm 100% serious, bro. Like, there will be people that I may run into in the fairs every now and again. Some I may know well, some I may not know too well, but they're just from Mobile. Or I actually may know them, like I went to school with them. Maybe not say 2 words from them. They're like your best friend just because they remind you of home. But all of that to say, I didn't write anything with any malice towards anybody. Like, oh no, I didn't like them, so let me write this about them. Like I remember Ferg, that was one character that you mentioned, and that's recurring in the first few books or whatnot. And in the books, she's like a very fly chick. She's like the queen bee of the Phyllis Quick clique, who are like the top of the echelon.
Too much, man. You give him too much, man. You give him too much.
No, I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna say this though. And you were kind of worried about it, and I was like, okay, well, the people that particular character, she was based off of somebody, but it still was more so of a composite. But even that particular character, the reason I made that particular girl, that character, was because I had the biggest crush on her when we were freshmen. And to me, it was like she was the fly chick. And it was like, and she wasn't the main chick. Like she wasn't the top chick of the Phillips chicks when you thought about that our freshman year. But to me, in my mind, she was. Mm. And so when I wrote the short story, I made her that. Now, of course, like all of the nasty stuff and all these other things that you mentioned, like, that is the composite part. That's like, okay, that's the made up part about it. And I'll give you another example that's going to be closer to your heart, Tavares. When you get to Jared's short story, your short story, and they're going to be easily recognizable, I think, even though names have been changed. But some of your family members, one of your family members actually, who everybody loves, I don't think she would mind me saying her name. Everybody loves Shelly. And that's been that way since I was in the 6th grade. She's been like the sweetest. She was the sweetest girl. She was like the friendliest person. And she comes across just that way in the short stories because that's who she was. You have another cousin. And when we were in middle school, I had the biggest crush on her, but she was just mean.
What are you talking about?
She was just mean. And so, and I don't think I ever said 2 words to her in middle school because I used to be kind of scared of her because she was so mean, but I used to love her to death.
Hey, man, that's my cousin.
Man, this was 20 plus years ago. But anyway, so in the books, I do make her more of, I'll put it this way, less of a sympathetic character. Okay. But the reason I did that is because she had such an impression on me because I had such a crush on her. And so I just took that, okay, she was kind of mean in a way like, like she was kind of hard, like she was kind of hood in a way to where, okay, I'm going to twist that this way. And I guess all of that is to say, if you see a character in the short stories and you think they are related to you or that it may be you, it's because you had some kind of impression on me when we were in high school or maybe even before high school and middle school, and it kind of stuck with me. And so, of course, I just kind of twisted and turned it because every character can't love every character. It can't be a whole big kumbaya moment or whatever.
Yeah. And I think a lot of folks, the creative process, they forget that it's based on, people. It's not a biography. So you're going to change them up a little bit because you need a story arc, right? you need a plot line. So you got to make some changes to make it happen. And you can't have a million characters just so that you can introduce, all the good people and make up all the bad people. So, don't get offended if he had to do that. I think it's one of those things that it makes the stories are so good because of that.
Absolutely.
Well, man, I feel like we've been pumping your book, man, and that wasn't even the intent of the show, man. We just wanted to get you on. So now we did that. Let's go pay some bills, fellas.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Welcome back. Once again, your favorite podcast. Used to be 3 Brothers No Sense, but before this episode is 4 Brothers No Sense.
No sense.
Joined with Sherman Cooley and, of course, my regular co-host, those dudes. But we're going to do things a little different today because we have Sherman on here.
We don't matter today.
You don't matter, really. And since Sherman didn't like me 20-some years ago, I'm going to do something different. So I'm going to yield my question and let Sherman have the floor. Sherman, what do you have on your mind? What do you want to get out to the listeners, man?
What's I love you now, brother. I love you now.
Oh, that's my question back then.
I just didn't like you then. No, man. Seriously, though, because I'm an artist and because, in the spirit of all this and everything we've just been talking about recently. Byron and I, years ago, we used to have this debate, and I think my own point of view on it has kind of evolved over time, but I was just interested to get your all's point of view on it. And so my question is this, as it relates to our culture, Black America, African American culture, what responsibility do artists, rappers, specifically rappers, but artists in general, have for the content that they produce? Or do they have any responsibility, you think?
Go ahead, Razi.
Yeah, you guys know I'm very opinionated, but no, I definitely think they do have a responsibility. I think they have a responsibility to tell the truth. And so whether that's good or bad is telling the truth. So I was watching, I don't know if it was the Revolt Summit or something. Somebody asked T.I., they were like, how do we get rappers to stop talking about gang violence and poverty and drug dealings? He's like, change the economic environment and they won't talk about it anymore because they're just talking about what they're living. So as long as you're speaking your truth, I think that is your responsibility to speak the truth. Now, if you making up these stylized versions of yourself and talking about how you living the life and you drug dealing and everything like that, and you really haven't lived it and really can't speak to it, I think that's the issue. So speaking the truth, but then when you speak the truth, really kind of coming back and talking about how it affected you and the family and everything else. And so I think media has a really bad way of picking and choosing I'm going to tell the hood part of my story, and then I have to embed all the good pieces into my album. Back in the day, it used to be on the B-side, right? My B-side would be me telling you all the good stuff that happened or how I got over this stuff. But the A side will end up being all the bang, bang, shoot them up, kill them, because that's what the industry was telling them. That's what sold. So the artists definitely have to, one, control their destiny. They have to actually control what they want to put out and speak the truth. But they do have a responsibility to make sure that they're telling their whole truth, not partially. So if you're dealing drugs, and you did that in the past, that's fine. But don't be talking about you're still dealing drugs if that's not what you're doing anymore. Talk about how you got out. Talk about how you use that money to reinvest it and put it somewhere where people can actually get out of the hood with that money. I mean, I think it was Killer Mike that made that conversation. He was talking about, or that comment, he was talking about, talk to your drug dealer friends about reinvesting this money, because the intent is to get out of the hood. It's not to stay in the hood and keep selling drugs all your life. So you need to have a plan to get out. And I think the artists need to talk through that piece about how they got out and how they use the artistry or the rap music or whatever to get out if they did do that.
And we disagree.
Man, you beat me to it.
An artist does not have a responsibility to tell the truth. I don't care if you sold drugs or not. Be entertaining. That's what an artist's job is to do. You be entertaining, because it don't matter if you're talking about selling dope. If you whack, we ain't checking for you, bro. Point blank, period. So, no, they don't. I mean, I kind of get what Razi was saying in a sense, but no, they don't. When you're rapping a song or whatever, like Jay-Z Biggie Smalls was no drug kingpin. I mean, Pac ain't do half of that stuff he was talking about. It doesn't have to be true. Just be entertaining. I think the responsibility part comes in is when you're like how you're on this show now, Sherman, talking about your book and stuff. When you're doing the media tour and all that stuff, and you sitting down for an interview, and you're not in Young Jeezy mode, you're not in Jay-Z mode, you're in Sean Carter mode, then I talk about these things in my music. But here's the downside of doing the stuff that I did or that I'm talking about. That's when you put the responsibility out there. But I think it should be a lane for adult entertainment. I don't think everything should be catered to kids and worrying about will this influence them or would that influence them? Because the bottom line is that was murders before rap, that was drug dealing before rap, and it's going to be murders and drug dealing during rap and after rap. So there's always going to be bad influences that influence people depending on your upbringing, your environment, and just how susceptible you are to being influenced and doing those type of things. So I just would say if there's any responsibility on them, that's when you do it. When you go on the MTVs, well, MTV probably don't even interview artists anymore, but when you go on these type of talk shows or when you're being interviewed, I think it is important. And rappers are getting so many more platforms now than when we were growing up. Lil Wayne is on ESPN. Jeezy is on Jacoby and that other guy's show on ESPN. Like Ja Rule was on Fox News Business. So they got all type of platforms. The president is former President Obama is talking about listening to Lil Wayne. So that's the time when you can, really talk to, the people that may be influenced to do the wrong things and say, hey, this is just entertainment. Remind them this is entertainment. Like when Denzel Washington plays Frank Lucas in American Gangster, he's not worrying about how responsible he looks in the movie. But when he sits down for the interview, he's going to let you know that he ain't shooting Stringer Bell in the middle of the street. So that's my piece on that. We got 4 of us, so I don't want to take up too much time. Let me pass it to Ferg.
Well, yeah, Byron, I'm glad you said that because I was about to vehemently disagree with Razi. It was funny is prior to your question, I probably leaned more to Razi's side. I'm glad you jumped in first, Razi, because then I started thinking, listening, like, I agree with you more so, Buff, but I agree with it should be entertaining part, but I think the onus is on us. Why are we giving these guys so much respect? Like, first of all, why are we asking rappers to be responsible? Like, if the idea of rappers are drug dealers and womanizers, all this stuff, that's who we go to for responsibility. It's like, well, you need to be more responsible and be a role model to my kids. Why? He used to be he told you he used to be a drug dealer.
Hov did that. So hopefully you won't have to go through that.
So all you expect him to turn around because we're buying kids or letting them download his albums or listening to the car or because we like it. I agree. Maybe there should be some, more onus on us. Like maybe our kids don't need to listen to that. Like I get in the car now and believe it or not, I have Kids Bop on. And it's all so much, I forget. I'll drop my daughter off and it'll be halfway through the day. It's like, damn, I keep hearing the same songs over and over. And I realize I've been listening to Kids Bop all damn day. So that's real life. But the thing about it is, why are they the people we're going to? Why do they have to be responsible? I'm not saying all rappers are drug dealers or anything like that, but we have other role models that should be maybe even better examples? Or why do we put that responsibility on them? Like you said, we don't ask Denzel Washington to judge what characters he plays.
Well, I think go ahead. I think Sherman probably going to say it, but I think the retort is rappers are some of the more influential people. And
whose problem is that? Is that theirs or ours? Why are the rappers or artists the most influential people in our community?
Was it Charles Barkley that said, "I'm not a role model"?
Yep. Yeah, way back in the day.
We want Beyonce to speak out more. Like people look to the entertainers to be the voices of our community. And now, yes, they do have a bigger platform to speak and deliver a message. But at the same time, just because you can sing or rap does not mean you need to be delivering our message. Kanye is the perfect example. We need to be able to say, hey, I like your music, but we don't need to follow you. And if we feel like you're misrepresenting us outside of being an entertainer and you start speaking for us and trying to reprimand us or give us guidance, that's when we're like, hold on. I don't need you telling my kids that being a slave was a choice. Blocked. Yep. Your albums and your music, I might not agree with, but it might be catchy, so I'm bumping it. But when you started trying to speak on our behalf, that's when I have to say, you know what? No, you're good. Almost like they do some of these basketball players. I hate to say it, but like, not going to stick to what you know. Speak on behalf of yourself. Don't speak on behalf of us. And if you do, and we don't agree, be willing to pay the consequences.
Well, I'll say this. Actually, I think I said I think my position had evolved a lot. I think Byron's position evolved a lot. I remember way back in the day. I
was on the opposite side. Yeah.
Exactly. This whole Don Imus and, I remember they had this whole hip hop versus America thing that was going on. It's funny, Razi mentioned T.I. just recently because I remember him being on that platform on BET with Al Sharpton and all of them and debating, hip hop's or artists' responsibility in these situations. And, I used to be all the way to the left. Like they have absolutely no responsibility. It's entertainment. And a lot of the things that Byron just articulated that, drugs are being sold. People are being killed in the street and I remember one of my biggest arguments used to be that, rap music doesn't make people go sell drugs. Being broke makes people go sell drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember making it even more personal to me. And I still firmly believe this to this day. One of the things that probably saved me to where I didn't go down that route in high school because, I knew people. I'm from Thomasville, so I knew drug dealers. I knew where to go get that package and what to do with it if I got it. And one of the things that I think kind of saved me from even being influenced in that direction at all is the year that we started high school, what happened? They started making us wear uniforms. And so I didn't have that pressure to dress up and look good. I can go get, 4 or 5 uniforms, whatever, and we all look alike. And so I didn't have that pressure to have these J's and to have these Nautica shirts and these polo pants and all this other stuff. And so I think that's more of a socioeconomic thing, not a cultural/artistic thing. But I will say this. I do believe that artists have some responsibility. And I think the bulk of that responsibility lies in something that Byron said, and that is to make sure that their listeners, especially the younger listeners, because we can slap a parental advisory label over a CD or whatever, however the kids get their music today. But, they're going to listen. They're going to consume it, and we know this. So I think they have a responsibility to make sure that they know that this is for entertainment purposes only. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first got locked up, it was actually before my trial. I was still in pretrial confinement. I probably had been in that little holding cell for like 2 days in North Carolina. And I wasn't in no military cell by myself. They had me out in Gen Pop with some dudes in Cumberland County with some real killers. And there was this older cat there. And and I'm sitting there and I got my glasses on and this, that, and the third. And then they brought me like the worst pair of glasses. They were big and thick, so I probably like a tax accountant sitting there. And guy looks at me and he's like, what you here for, traffic tickets or something? And so, me being me, I'm still puffed up and I'm looking like, nah, bro, I'm here for murder. That's what I'm here for. And so now everybody wants to know, and they listening to the whole story. Oh, you was the guy that was on the news with the shooting on base and all this other stuff. And for those who don't know, I was involved in an altercation, got attacked by some guys, and it just went way left. But in any case, that man looked at me and he said something that has stuck with me for 17 plus years. And he was like, you young dudes, you have to realize that all that stuff you see on TV and all that stuff you hear on the radio is for entertainment purposes only. Mm-hmm. And I don't care whether we're talking about me in that situation or we're talking about Young Jeezy or we're talking about, I don't know, whoever your favorite trap rapper is, whoever he is today. Young Jeezy wouldn't be Young Jeezy if he was still on that corner doing the things that he raps about. So at a certain point, and I think one of you all mentioned this, at a certain point, he made a conscious decision to be in that studio and to be putting in that work and to be writing in that notebook and doing the things that it takes to be successful. I heard Byron mention it before that, I and Wendell had a rap group back in the day, and I can tell you just from our limited experience then that it is not easy. It takes a lot of hard work because rappers are a dime a dozen. You walk outside, you're going to trip over a rapper. And so to do the things that it takes to be successful, you have to remove yourself to a certain degree. And you see the tragic stories of those who don't, who try to keep one foot in and one foot out. whether they're lost in the prison system, or whether they get gunned down in the street, or they in and out of jail all the time and they're just stalling out their career. Because to be successful in that, you have to make a choice. And so I think that's part of the responsibility that they have. And also, one of my biggest retorts to, rappers putting out this bad image and they're portraying this bad image and making us look bad is something that Byron actually mentioned. And I used to always use Denzel Washington. And it wasn't Frank Lucas. I used to always say, nobody said anything to Denzel about being, Lonzo on training day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, nobody looked at him and was like, oh, you made black people look bad, or you made Black America look bad. Because he's an artist and he's practicing his craft, and it's for entertainment purposes only. But I think that's the responsibility that we as artists have to our public.
Y'all said it so much better. That's what I meant. When I
wanted to be on Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and shit. But at the same time, you gotta admit, I don't think all these, especially these younger rappers who grew up, maybe not doing this, but they know that's what sells. Like you said, it's for entertainment purposes. And a lot of them aren't even telling about selling drugs anymore. A lot of them are talking about doing drugs. And now the new thing is I'm on this Molly, I'm on this X, I'm on this Xan. Like they doped up. But for them, that's real life. That's all they know. And it's real. And so the thing about it is we have to, I think for us, be more responsible saying, even if my 15-year-old, 16-year-old son or daughter listens to this, is this the most influential person in their life? You're like, what other people are we getting them to be around or listen to or read? Like you as an artist, you're like, hey, I still want to, you don't rap anymore, but you're a writer, Do you feel like you have that same responsibility as a writer that you would as a rapper?
To be honest, I think my struggle there is a little bit different. And, anybody that knows me, that has known me for any amount of time, knows that I'm a Christian. And so, in being a Christian, and, I'm not one of those jailhouse Christians. I ain't go to jailhouse Christians, I ain't go to prison and find Jesus. So as a writer, for me, that's kind of a struggle. That's something I still battle with. Like, okay, my books are secular, and I come from a Pentecostal background, a household to where my aunt, who was like the spiritual head of our family now, I've never seen her in a pair of pants ever. Wow. She in her 50s, and so and she'll never read one of my books because it's secular. And I don't understand that because she loves her some Denzel Washington now. And she'll watch a movie. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you, damn Denzel, bro. That's what it is.
But I'm saying is like that's secular entertainment. Now there are things she isn't going to watch. She ain't gonna sit through no rated R movie, all these other things. But I do feel like as a writer, I have to portray. Well, first off, back to like what Byron said. My first duty is to entertain. I'm a fiction writer. So it's entertainment, it's escapism. That's my first duty. But then I do feel like, okay, as a writer, I want what I write to have a real tint to it. I wanted to have some kind of realism. It can be fantastical to an extent, but, it can't be, the Tony Montana in the mansion where he done gunned down an army of people and he's so coked up he's basically a walking zombie and he's just, mowing through this army. When I say it needs to have some kind of reality in it, is that okay? Well, you do these things, there are going to be consequences. Maybe you can get out of these consequences, but you never get out unscathed. Like some of the things that I write, some of the other books and things that I write, people always look at and they're like, well, why did this happen to this character? Why did you make this happen? And I always look at them like, yo, bad guys have guns too. So you do that, there's going to be some kind of consequence. And so to me, I feel like, and this is just an artistic choice that, I want to have that degree of realism there. Like, and that's really where I'll come down on it.
You made a good point, though. You started with, I write fiction. Do you think that if they put that on almost like a warning label on music, like, bitch, this is fiction. Like, it is what it is.
Like made genres be like, oh, like, this is biographical.
You know, like, because then talking to a kid like, if this is all true, you know, he will. Biographical.
That's it.
You were just smart 2 weeks ago.
It's late.
But the thing about it is, you know, like, explaining to kids, hey, if everything he's saying is true, he either should be locked up, will be locked up, or will be dead in the next few months. And I think they did that. What was that? The Breakfast Club interview with Tekashi? Was that Breakfast Club when they did that? It was like, dude, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
And because he was still trying to live that life, and now he's trying to say it was fiction, but his fiction was more biographical. That man's in deep, you know. So I think that was a great question, man. Anybody else anything on that question? Okay, so
I want to know what Erica's over there eating, because
Wait a minute.
I heard the plate pop down.
Wait a minute.
I think she's cleaning.
I heard a microwave. No, I heard a microwave. I heard a hot. It sounded about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel like there's a hot pocket or something in there.
Hey, man, next question.
Who's up next?
I'll go. So since it's 4 of us, I think this is the perfect time to ask this question. And what brought it to my mind was I watched this Matt Barnes interview about his fight with Derek Fisher. And also I have a coworker who once told me, he was like, let me tell you something. I have a brother that I'm very close with, like a blood brother, not how we say we brothers, like they are real brothers. He's like, when he over my house and my wife is there, if I got to go to the store, we got to go to the store. Ain't no man staying at my house with my wife. I don't care who it is. So it made me want to ask you guys this question because Matt Barnes was pissed at Derek Fisher because, you know, they're both in that NBA circle. And even though they're not friends, he's like, look, you know, that's my ex-wife. At least, you know, you're going to be around my kids. Give me a heads up. Hey, man, me and your ex-wife are dating. So since it's 4 of us, I want to get exactly what true bro code is for the listeners. Like, what are the rules? Like, we know, for example, not to date somebody's ex. However, if it's your homeboy who dated a girl back in 9th grade and now y'all like 36, like, is it a time limit on it? Like, what exactly are all the rules when it comes to that?
You better grow up.
Okay, so you take it first then, man. So what's the rules on that, man? Like,
I mean, to me, this is easy. Like, you in a situation you just laid out, right? Like, you talking about some girl that you dated way back in 96, 99, whatever. Now you married with your own family. Yo, dog, that's open game right now. What are you talking about? Like, you better go lay down with your wife.
You only get one.
Yeah, you only get one.
Now exes are off the, like, ex-wives are off the, like, I couldn't see, you know, 10 years from now, me coming to Mobile, seeing you guys at the all-class reunion, with my wife and kids on your arm.
You know Sabrina, right?
Ain't no show. We canceling the show. But, you know, like, I'm with you. You know, I'm with you, you know. But I think also...
Depends on how close you were with the dude, too, right? Like,
yeah, close, especially close. Like, if you were... We were just cool. We graduated together. I owe you nothing.
I'll say this.
I owe you nothing.
I'll say this. I'll amend a little bit. And not back on that whole thing about some girl you had a crush on in the 9th grade and all that. But if there is to be some kind of interaction or whatever with like an ex or an ex that he was very serious with, then I think Matt Barnes is right in that, dude, especially if y'all close, you need to have a conversation with me. Like, and you need to have a conversation with me before anything happens. And then you need to make sure that this is worth it. Like, you know, you don't want to, you know, jeopardize a real friendship, a real brotherhood with somebody that you love because you want to see what this over here is hitting like.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
I mean, in that Matt Barnes situation, though, I look at that as like a coworker. You know what I mean? You like, oh, we're in this basketball. That's a coworker. And I'm sorry, my coworker X is fair game at that point. That you know what I mean?
Hey, all right,
now if it
I just heard you on the episode a couple of weeks ago talking about I'm 5'6", 150 something pounds now.
don't mean I can't fight. Like, if it gotta come to that. But what I'm saying, like,
I don't need this job.
Look, like my thing is, I can use my organization, right? This is about 10,000 folks in the U.S. operation alone. So 10,000 folks. I can't be like, oh, all 10,000 of them coworkers wise. Now, if they on my team, like if they're on the exact same team, that might be totally different.
They're
in your office,
Yeah. Like they in my office, I can't do it. But if they on the 17th floor and I'm on the first floor and I see them going up the elevator every once in a while, that type of thing, I'm sorry. Like I had, like you said, I have no qualms about dating your ex-wife. That ain't got nothing to do with it.
But you know them. So I'm not saying you shouldn't date her. I'm just saying he shouldn't find out when he coming by the house and you sitting on the couch.
Because you know how NBA players, they move, unless you're a superstar, you moving around almost every year. Derek Fisher was a player and a coach. Things cross, like the NBA circle is small. You don't think Derek owed him any type of, hey, man.
Forget NBA circle. I'm talking about Razio at work in the office at the bank.
And you kind of being real dismissive about coworkers. Like, you see coworkers every day, Razi.
That's what I'm saying. You at least owe this man to say, hey, look, bro.
I'm talking about, like, I'm liking it to, when I say coworker, I'm like, we work in the same organization versus coworker, like, we interact on a daily basis.
Hey, Bob, can I borrow your stapler?
Yeah. Like Bob, I can't like go with Bob ex-wife or ex-lady, but like I said, the guy on the 17th floor that I only see walking in, like I'm not.
Okay,
so I don't owe him anything.
If you see that, let me put it like this: if you see that guy, and you see that guy enough to know that that's his wife, right?
I saw him at the office party.
And to see able and to recognize and be familiar enough with him, and he be familiar enough with you, so when he walk in his house and he see you, or his former house, and he see you sitting on the couch, and know this is a Razio Mancarella from work, that he should not be surprised.
That
he should know.
But at what point do you tell him though? So first of all,
that ain't my secret to tell. Like,
there's a couple of things that go on. So first of all.
He won it. And wonder why didn't nobody like him at 9th grade.
But if you over there plotting, like, okay, like if you over there plotting and like we break up tomorrow and then all of a sudden you showing up at the office the next day with flowers or something. But you have, like they've gotten divorced, time has passed, you meet her you go out of town for vacation or homecoming, or you didn't realize you guys went to the same school, and you just happen to connect and something happens, and you try to see where the relationship goes. I mean, first of all, I do agree that to a certain extent, that's not your story or your secret to tell. So it's like, hey, I would say, look, hey, you know what? I do work with Razio. This looks like it's going somewhere. I feel like we need to let him know how do you want to play this? Because I don't want to come back to the office the Monday after homecoming, high five and Rise. Like, look, bro, I don't know how to tell you this. Smash your ex-wife. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. It may or may not be anything, but I might be your kid's new daddy. Like, how do you play that? Like it's.
Hey, y'all remember back when we were in high school and like we'll see a fire chick with a baby? He'd be like, "Hey, I'm your new stepdaddy."
Winter would tap the kid on the shoulder like, that's your new stepdaddy, don't you? The kid be looking crazy.
So a few things, man. Obviously, it matters how close you are. So, like with any of you guys, I mean, if I ever become single, your ex-wives are certainly off limits. And then if you were like really serious about somebody in high school, so like any of your exes that you were serious about in high school, Sherman, that's off limits too to me. Now,
I dated my ex in high school.
I'm talking about like serious, man. Like, but somebody else that I just went to high school with. So you disagree, huh? So X is a fair game too.
Hey, man.
You're talking about high school, son.
I'm talking about, let's say they're not even married. They dated for a long time, yada, yada, yada. Let's take it away from being married.
That's why we need to get this bro code straight. It's too many.
It's a lot of variables to this.
So for one, I think rule number one is no plotting. Like, it's like, I can't be sitting there dating. Let's say this 2005.
Can't wait till y'all break up, man.
Bump the Missouri tab. And as soon as something happened, man, you all right, Tab? You need a shoulder to cry on.
That's cold.
Like that ain't right, so you waiting. But if
that's how me and Tab got into a disagreement when we was watching Raising Dion, because what's my man name? Michael B. Jordan, his best friend. He was just coming around. He's coming around his ex-wife a little too much. I said I knew he was a villain. he was creeping from day one, man.
I haven't seen it all yet, but
I was so oblivious.
My bad, y'all.
Again, I guess it kind of comes out. I'm super oblivious to that because I was like, man, he's a good guy. He's just trying to, make sure Dion's okay.
I don't even watch the damn show anymore. Thank you. But no, bro code number one is like no creeping, no plotting.
Okay.
Yeah, can't plot. I look at it.
Sherman is adamant about if you date in high school. What if they got a kid with that girl? They dated in high school, a couple of girls got pregnant. What if they got a kid together, Sherman?
I mean, put it like this, brother. First off, if it's one of y'all or somebody that I'm close to, we gonna have a conversation.
If y'all saw the way he said conversation, it ain't no damn talking.
No. Next thing he's just gonna let you know.
Hey, yo, look at.
Hey, shut up.
No, we gonna have a conversation. But I don't know. I mean, certain relationships in high school are more serious than others. Because back when we were in high school, we thought we were grown. You know what? I ain't even gonna go there with Tavares, man. I ain't finna do this with you. We thought we were grown. And so, yeah, we were in some very serious relationships. But all I would expect from any of you today, when I'm sitting here with the whole wife, is a conversation like, hey, look, Sherman, I'm digging such and such, and I think she's feeling me, and we want to take this thing to the next level. And I'm not saying you're asking for my permission. I'm probably going to let you know how I feel about it one way or the other. But then you're free to go do what you want to do. I got to respect that. I have a whole wife over here. And you talking about 20 years ago.
But I think there's rules, because you don't see that as much with married people. I think the bro code happens more so when you're mid-20s, 30s type thing. This is, once again, call it 10, 15 years ago, 2005. Would that conversation would be the same without the whole wife? Bro code.
I think it's still the same. It's still the same. Right? I'm not lying, bro, because, you're a grown man first and foremost. And I know if the shoe was on the other foot, ain't no grown man finna tell me what I am and I ain't about to do.
True.
At the same time, because you're a grown man and because I care for you and you are important to me and are an important part of my life, then there's one way for you to find this out. And it's through me. By me and us sitting down and having a mature conversation about it.
Yeah. I look at it as, like, especially if the homeboy is close enough to me that I know how the breakup was. I think that really is what matters. Like, if she broke your heart and you called me crying and I had to come over and be a homeboy and be like, dog, I'm taking you to the strip club because, obviously you need to get over this chick type thing. That I feel like she's off limits. You know what I mean?
Razi, that was 20 years ago, son.
No matter. You really had.
That man was sitting there with snot bubbles. And you over there.
Hey, you Negro South. I want you to know some South ninjas.
So, if y'all actually had a clean break or you messed up and you cheated on her and y'all at that point it was your fault. She's free game.
Wait a minute.
Do we have? We only have one rule so far. We didn't read on nothing.
Well, here's the thing. That's what I was about to say. It sounds like it just depends on the two bros and whatever code they have established. But I will say one bro code I think we all agree on is we're not telling on each other. And ladies, before you judge us, we know y'all do the same thing. Y'all don't tell on each other. Matter of fact, Miss Wakanda, you said you'll be the alibi. So ain't none of y'all finna judge us. Okay. That's the only thing we can agree.
I saw that too.
That's ultimate bro code. I ain't telling on none of y'all. Like I said, that ain't my secret to tell. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
So I'll ask you this. Even though we're all married, I'm thinking only thing I can agree is no plot. And I think there's a timeline too. Like we can't break up today and then you bring her to Christmas dinner, and it's already November.
Months from now. Yeah.
It's like, and then your intent too. I think that's also like if, Razi, you're in a serious relationship and y'all dated for 2-3 years. We're 25, 26 now. Not high school. Let's talk about growing up relationship. High school, you dated for 2-3 years. Y'all break up and you really cared about it. And all of a sudden I'm just trying to smash. I'm about to dog her out. Unless she dogged you out.
Exactly.
And I owe that.
Exactly. Because I'm going to tell it. I don't care. Whatever. If she listening, she listening. Because I had a homeboy that had to call me and be like, hey, me and such, I'm starting to feel it. And I was like, oh, have at it. Like, dog her out. Like, you can do whatever with her. I don't care. Because, I got dogged out and I got hurt. And so I was like, whatever, do whatever with her. So, but my homeboy did reach out to me and was like, hey, I'm starting to feel her. I want to go further with it.
Sure.
Oh, she dogged him out too. So, and I was sitting in the background like, told you.
She goes.
Sherman says y'all got one presidential term, 4 years, and then she fair game. Don't matter what kind of roles y'all love. So time guy, do we got time for one more question, man, or what's up?
Yeah,
it's
man, let's get it.
It's a special edition, so.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. It's on you.
All right, so this one might be a little short anyway. So I want to ask y'all, we talked a little bit about how y'all were rappers and everything like that. What was the best concert you can remember that you ever went to?
This may be a little embarrassing for me, but I've only been in one concert in my whole life.
So that might be the best one then, huh?
No limit, baby. Masterpiece.
You know what? That might be up. Like I've been to a couple of concerts and I've been to some great concerts, but I think that might be one of the best because that was like, I went with you. I remember the whole day revolving around that. We went up to
the Music Box.
What do we call it? Music Box. Try to meet them and everything.
Highway 45. We met Master P and Mia X and all of them.
Yeah,
that's when Sherman decided he wanted to be a rapper. After he met Master P.
You gonna lie on me on, I was gonna say national TV. You gonna lie on me on Anchor, son?
Well, correct me then, brother. I thought that's when you decided you wanted to be a rapper.
I'm the one that took your little rinky-dink duo to a full-fledged real group in the weight room freshman year.
I don't deny that, but you didn't decide to do that till after you met Master P.
We didn't meet Master P till after freshman year. That was between freshman and sophomore year, son.
We didn't do the rap group until after 10th grade.
No, we didn't.
All right, we getting lost in the sauce. Best concert is a tie. I went to go see 50 Cent when he first came out in Mobile and Lil Wayne up here. I know a lot of people don't like Lil Wayne these days. Kiss my ass. I like Lil Wayne. I like Lil Wayne.
Like Lil Wayne or classic Lil Wayne?
Listen. Let me tell you something about Lil Wayne. It ain't too many rappers that can say they started out as the third most popular person in their group and wind up being bigger than any of them in the group. So like you got Eminem and D12. Well, nobody bigger than Eminem. Nelly and the Saint Lunatics. Any rap crew you name, the star always stayed the star. Lil Wayne was the third best. You had Juvenile,
but he was like 6. So he had a lot of potential.
He couldn't even curse yet.
Exactly. So, and he's sitting down with Katie Couric and stuff later on. So, but yeah, I enjoyed that concert, especially when he did a lot of his old stuff. It took me back. So those two concerts right there.
Why don't anybody why people don't like Lil Wayne these days though? What am I missing?
Once he did Lollipop and added the auto-tune and all that stuff, people fell off.
I love that album.
Oh, and how
because a Millie man go so hard though,
and how he dresses, and how
that was some 2000.
I mean, he a weirdo now. You gotta admit.
I mean, the skateboard thing. I mean, I actually like that.
He's still a beast.
That was good with me when he made Prom Queen and everything. He dropped that rap or that rock album. I mean, he was good with me.
Yeah, I ain't listening to no rock album. I have limits.
Hey man, rock can get it sometimes. I mean, it goes hard. So
like she's on fire. I did like that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so my best concert, I've been to a couple of like the big, stadium concerts and everything, but I really like the club concerts, the ones where it's like, 150, 200 people crammed into a small venue. You got the rapper and maybe one hype man on a small little stage. And my favorite, Byron, you probably remember this one. Here in Birmingham, Classic Weekend, we went to see Bun B. And in the middle of the concert, Bun B was like, hold up.
No.
Stop the music.
We saw Pimp C.
Yeah, we saw Pimp C. Yeah.
Pimp C cussed out the club owner and the DJ.
He stopped the music. And then he was like, hey, I just got a text. Bun B just got out. So like the whole club just went crazy, yo. It was so awesome, man. So that was such a good time that night, just being able to be there and be near them when that was happening and how hype everybody was, man. It was a good time. So that was like the best concert I've ever been to.
Because Sherman, I love that concert, but if anybody knows me, my favorite artist of all time is Stevie Wonder. And this dude hadn't been on tour for years. And so he had a concert in Atlanta, I want to say in 2008 or 2009 at this amphitheater. And when I say the concert lasted hours, it was like to the point where you're like, okay, we've been in here 2 hours. It's about to wrap up soon. And then he come up with like 3 more hits. You're like, God, how many hits this dude got? And I mean, it was just, because his music was known and loved worldwide. It was black people, white people, Hispanic, like everybody vibing, drinking. There was clouds in the air. It was just going on. And when I say this dude just killed it, and I'm because that was, like I said, I would say the first concert he did in 10 or 15 years, and or first tour he did in 10 or 15 years, and I paid way too much money to go, but that was like one of those people, that you always say you got to see before they're not here. Never got to see Mike, never got to see Prince, and so for me, he's on that level. So I can always say I saw one of the greats. So that would be me.
I can respect that.
Yeah. And I just had to correct what was going on. I think me and Byron might be talking about 2 different concerts, because I remember that time Pimp C cussed out the DJ and everything, but I really think it was Bun B that was there, because Bun B never got locked up. It was Pimp C that got locked up. So it had to be Bun B telling us that Pimp C had got out. So I don't know if you were there for that one, then. It might have been somebody else. Okay. But that concert, yeah, it was Bun B, because Bun B. So man, that was a wild night once we found that out.
All right, fellas. I think it's been a great episode. Any thoughts?
Well, it was just good to have Sherman on here, man. We've mentioned him on some prior episodes, and he talked a little bit about his incarceration. I remember just going to visit him in the different places he was: Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, Fort Leavenworth, all the way to Florida. And just visiting him, man, I just used to always think, man, I can't wait till he's like outside of these walls and we can just talk to one another, in a normal way. And I went to go visit him once he was out this past August, man. And, Sherman, you and your wife, I told you in person, I'm telling you now, man, I just really appreciated the hospitality. It was great seeing you, kicking it with you, and to have you on this platform with us now, promoting your book, participating, man. It's like a dream come true, man. It's like something we used to talk about that you knew would happen one day, but it seems so far out that it almost seems like it would never happen, man. So just to be living it in this moment right now, it's been truly a treasure, man. So I've enjoyed this show, particularly today.
Let me just say this, and I think I'll close with this. first and foremost, I thank God for, I thank, Christ for giving me the strength to make it through, because I wouldn't have made it a day, and wouldn't make it a day now had it not been for him. But right along next to that, my family. And when I say my family, that's you three, and as well as, my blood family. But you all have been there for me, every step of this journey. Like that night when everything went left and my whole life changed, you all were the first phone calls I made. And I mean, nobody knows how true that is, how much you all mean to me. Like, the people who are here right now. And, I've been blessed. I've been blessed greatly into abundance. And I've been blessed with having you all in my life, bro. Like, I don't know if I would have made it through without the steady, consistent love and support that you all gave me, man. And as I said at the start of this show, I'm so proud to have you all in my life and to call you all my brothers and to mean that with the deepest and utmost sincerity. I mean, and then like Byron said, it is a dream come true. It's a dream come true just to be here, to be on this platform with you all. And I thank you for it, man. I thank you for 20 plus years of holding me down, for 17 years when I was gone of holding me down. And more than anything else, as I said at the start of this show, I thank you all for remaining who we are and us being us.
Man, talking to you, just sitting here having this conversation with you it's like Byron said, it's a dream come true, man. Like we used to laugh and talk about it. Sometimes we'll be in like our group chat and I'll just be like, man, it's so good to have you here. I've shot that out a couple times in the group chat. It's like it is crazy. And to the listeners out there, if you've got friends, family that's locked up, keep reaching out to them, man. Cause I mean, you can hear it in Cooley's voice. It makes a difference. Right. This actual episode is going to drop on Veterans Day. And so shout out to the veterans out there. Same thing with anybody who has a veteran friend that's deployed in a different country, just that they're 2 weeks or whatever, if they're reservists and they're just out on deployments or on missions right now. Reach out to them, call them, tell them you love them, shoot them a message, write them. Handwritten messages make a big difference. I mean, because then you can go back and you can just reread it over and over and over again. You always got it. That paper makes a difference. So write letters, write emails, make calls. That makes a huge difference to get folks through those hard, tough times. So keep reaching out. And then happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. Sherman, Ferg, happy Veterans Day to you guys.
Thank you.
So, Marquise, Melvin, yeah. So any of the veterans that we know out there, you guys, holla at you guys, love you, and keep doing what you guys do.
All righty, man, Sherman, I wish we would have saved you for last, man. I mean, you're a hard act to follow, man, as usual. You've been doing that for 20 plus years, but you've been giving us a lot of praise, man. And I don't know if we've done our fair share of returning that, man. When I say I'm so proud of you from your growth over the last 17 years, but still being you, but then just your steadfastness with your religion and your beliefs and you coming in. I know a lot of times people second guess people who have made one or two mistakes in their life and think they can't be reformed or a better person, man. You've been out grinding and your passion for greatness and success. I mean, you've written God knows how many books. You have degrees. You found love. You started your own business. So anybody looking to get in shape, Sherman is still in great shape. He has Ignite Fitness. He's hopefully coming up with a plan for me once I get back and out of this cast. But dude, you've done more than most people who had 3 or 4 times more opportunity than you have. So I mean, and in the root of it, you still remain you. You haven't lost yourself. You're still a great person. When I talk about friendship, Razi and our Omegas, our motto is friendship is essential to soul. You're one of the first people that comes to my mind when I think of friendship. There were so many things we've been through over the years. Either you're all in, you're all out, that I still hold true, to this point where I don't really have enemies because, like, I'm very particular on who I call my friends. And when I got your back, I got your back. And, man, keep doing what you do. I can't wait to read the other stories and see your continued success. The fact that we have you on this podcast and the fact that you're our first guest is an honor. And so, in your words, yes, these last 5 minutes have made us sound soft. I'll allow it. And not only will I allow it, I love it, man. I mean, the fact that we've been through so much together over the years and we picked up where we left off. When people see us this month, we're the same us. We're still strong. I mean, we're still wise and we're still talented, man. We're still doing what we do. And so from 3 Brothers No Sense, this week 4 Brothers No Sense, the 6 rules of podcast: listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and listen again. And hopefully we'll have Andre dropped on our Facebook page when this episode drops. If not, we'll have it that same week. See you when we see you.